Good evening, risk enjoyers. Hope you're right, 'cause it's time for a profit review. Last week we discussed the June 4 swipe Rustor. That was June 5, 2025, and today we're here to talk about June 12, 2025. So sit back, relax, and I'll start yapping. So I'm using Skinlytics today. As you can see, SCMM is down, but it quite literally says use Skinlytics, and well, there you go. It's functional, it's working, and I'm going to use it. So, what was my initial reaction when I first saw this Rustor? We were waiting for Tire Tier 3 to actually appear. We've been waiting, rubbing our hands in anticipation. And then we get this brand new Tier 3 set called Island Assault. Unbelievable. Who's going to want that, huh? That's what we thought. It did look cool, though. When we first initially saw this, I was making jokes about how it looked like a henchman sort of set. So, like, I don't know, mad scientist, he's got all of his people working for him. They all got, like, nice gear, all these useful tools on them and whatnot. It did look pretty cool. An interesting matte grey design that didn't reflect. Because I've seen many, metallic sets in the past. That was a grey set that didn't reflect. Interesting. We'll talk more about that in a bit, won't we? Oh, yeah. And another main point to bring up, especially when I did my predictions video, so over to here, I was looking at all the skins, and I did make a very notable point to say we got a lot of transparency this week. Notably, the sheep on the door you see there in the background, that had head height transparency, covered in leaves, nice and green. I thought, you know what, a lot of people probably would appreciate that Cobalt jungle container door. A lot of people might greatly use it, appreciate it and whatnot. So, okay, considering we did see that jungle rug, remember the jungle ivy rug being accepted not too long ago, if you're going to cover your base and all of that, maybe that door might be the perfect fit. So there was potential there. We did see another Heatseeker skin getting accepted, so we had a bit of a break, but now we're back. It was a Python, though, and if you were fully well aware, with all the other skins we saw like lots of transparency in a SAR, lots of transparent in MP5, but the amount of transparency we had on this Heatseeker Python, we've already seen that before. Blackout Python, we also recently saw the Bombshell Python, you might also recall Redemption Python. We had options already. So whilst it was a collection continuation for the very popular Heatseeker collection, Heatseeker Summer, yeah, it really wasn't that special. We had other options. Could that be a problem? Especially considering that was selling at $3 and all those other options I pointed out were cheaper. So, okay, that might be a bit of a concern, but, it's still Heatseeker skin, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to just want to buy the whole collection. So fair enough. We had the transparent baby locker. 3 weeks in a row. Small box, large box, and now a locker. And initially I was making quite a fuss about this because I compared it to the cargo heli locker from the past, which had that had transparency as well. But that had more transparency. I discussed how you could probably use them as like barricades. Takes 100 bullets to destroy that. And you have all the vision that you need. You could quickly shoot someone, hide behind it, reload, keep an eye on them, then pop out again. Cool. You could put that between like doorways and whatnot. An interesting design. But was it actually to be utilised in such a way? We'll talk more about that in a bit. Sheep middle double door. So that was a nice thing to see because up to this point, we actually hadn't seen that many sheep middle double door skins in 2025. Compared to the previous year, last year, 2024, we saw a ridiculous amount. And even then, all those sheep middle double doors back in 2024, all the marketable ones, they are still in the positive. Even though lots of them were accepted, at this specific point in time as well, they were all rising up in price ever so nice. So that was looking very appealing. And then, of course, the Coconut Bandana, Cryo Small Box, Scream Guard, and AK-47. Very nice additions, but I don't have that much to talk about them right now. So, okay, cool. So, all right. Looking at all these skins, what was I considering to potentially being the best investment? And immediately I went for the sheet metal double door. I thought that was the most safe and reliable option. As I said, we actually hadn't seen that many being accepted this year in 2025. So that was the go-to thing. That was what I was considering. Looking at all the other skins, I thought, you know what? I think I will then talk about the Bamboo Locker. As I said, with the amount of transparency it had, I was making considerations, I was thinking about it, and I honestly thought, back then, Bamboo Locker probably would be appreciated a lot. Maybe we won't be seeing anything like it being accepted anytime soon, and a very cool, massively transparent design would be utilised and appreciated. That was, that's what I was assuming. So, Then I talked about the Heatseeker Python. Again, repeating the words, saying that, we already have the Blackout Python, we already have the Redemption Python, we already have the Bombshell Python, point made. Maybe this might struggle. Maybe this will be the Heatseeker skin that actually struggles. Fully well aware, at this point in time, the MP5 was struggling, considering the amount that sold. But more specifically, I didn't think this was going to sell too much, because again, there are other options. But I honestly thought, again, Pythons in general, the amount of usage and whatnot, do people appreciate the weapon that much? But still, it's part of the Heatseeker collection. Still, people would want to buy the full set, so okay, fair enough. Then I discussed the Cobalt Jungle container door. I showcased some jump ups with it. I made a point that, yep, you can utilize this in a very fun way, depending how you build your bases. You don't have to just use it for camouflage bases and whatnot. Fair enough. Then by default, I talked about Island Assault. I was like, well, you know what? So as long as we see continuations, it should work out quite all right. These, well, just to point out, $2 here, $1.49. They were abnormal. I was like, we'll just wait for the abnormals. You do the barders first and whatnot. Initially, I didn't have that much interest in them. Being straightforward with you, all right? But I was like, yeah, collection continuations will still be all right for it, yeah. We'll be talking about that, don't you worry. And then, of course, with the remaining skins, I thought the Cry Small Box looked cool, but I wasn't 100% sure it was going to be A-okay. I don't really trust small box skins anymore. They don't tend to be very reliable. And the Coconut Bandana blended in very nicely with the Coconut armor. But how often do people skin their wood armor and whatnot? Still, it was a nice addition, but I wasn't super convinced. And the AK was, well, it's just a 60 cent, 20 cent barter. Sorry to say, but yeah, okay. Right, so there was a lot of optimism to a point. How did everything turn out after the first 24 hours of sales? So let's hop over to here and take a look, and you'll see that, yeah, Cobalt Jungle Container Sheep Matador was the top selling skin, not the Heatseeker Python. Interesting. Okay then, fair enough. And then of course, we saw the Island Assault was selling quite nicely. Okay. It might not be tier 3, but I can acknowledge a lot of people do seem to appreciate the skins. Fair enough. We'll have to keep an eye out for those collection continuations. Oh yes. Bamboo Cage Locker was not the top seller of the week, but it's still selling quite a lot, 8,000. Again, the average sales we saw of these skins here looking very, very good. So I was reasonably, cautiously optimistic, but yeah, no, still selling quite nicely. Twisted Sheep Matador, oh, I felt even more safe with that as an investment, because not the top seller clearly. It's literally in the middle, not getting too much attention, didn't look like it was going to sell too much, definitely looking like a much more reliable option in terms of being a nice investment, so cool. And then, yeah, Coconut Bandana, just over 5,000 subscribers. Cryo Small Box, just under 5,000 subscribers. And the AK, unfortunately, not getting that much attention. It didn't really stand out that much. Hence, 60 cent to 80 cent barter. So, okay. Sales are looking pretty good. But now, let's skip ahead and discuss how everything looked when we did the abnormal barters. So, let's go over to here. And let's show you on the night of Wednesday, June 18. And I'm sitting here. I'm looking at all the skins. Cobalt Jungle Container Sheep Matador still on top with 19,782 subscribers, followed by the Heatseeker Python with just under 19,000 subscribers. Island Assault still doing pretty good, just over 18,000 subscribers. So overall, everything's looking pretty interesting. Everything's selling quite nicely. But now, let's of course talk about what prices we suggested when we looked at all the skins. So as I went through all the abnormals, looking at all the skins, I made considerations for that Sheep Matador, selling at $2.49. I thought about it, I questioned it, and I thought, you know what? $1.20 to $1.80, that seems to be a reasonable approach. Many Sheep Matadors have been accepted in the past. Many interesting ones have been accepted in the past. Ones being part of notable collections that a lot of people do appreciate. And, well, that was interesting. I was hoping to see collection continuations, and they were being worked on. I just wasn't 100% convinced it was going to be totally fine. I've seen how Sheep Matadors tend to behave in recent years, so I thought $1.20, $1.80 would be okay. Again, you got to think a little bit more on long term. September, October, November. I know it's quite a few months away, but still, you have to anticipate how things might turn out when things get bad, when there's less people playing the game. All right, cool. If that's your reasoning, Hedge, we'll roll with that. Heatseeker Python, a $3 skin. As I said though, I didn't think this would be the one that would be performing the best. quite the opposite. It wasn't the top seller. In fact, at this specific point, it quite clearly was the lowest selling heat seeker Python, well, heat seeker skin up to this point, but it didn't end up becoming the lowest overall. It's still the AK. But anyway, I looked at it, I questioned it, and I thought, you know what, $1.20 to $1.80. Pythons, the weapon itself, they don't seem to be appreciated that much. I was concerned, didn't really feel confident, so yeah, I went with a lower price. Around October time, could it potentially go as low as about $2? That's kind of what I was expecting. Again, still keeping in mind the cheaper options that are available. So, fair enough. Island Assault Tier 2. Oh, so, I was looking at the face mask, at the chest plate. One selling for $2, one selling for $1.49. Cool looking design, but I wasn't 100% sure. We weren't aware, or rather, we did not see the collection continuation at this specific point. But the skin creator actually messaged me and he said he did intend to go for like the whole collection and boots and gloves. He was expecting to get the tier 2 hoodie and pants out and whatnot. So he was motivated. Now, it was nice to hear, but Face Punch makes the decision. Oh, actually, to see a full collection being accepted, blah, blah, blah. I went with 70 cents to $1. We'll be talking more about that in a bit, don't you worry. So, okay, cool. Bamboo Cage Locker. So, I was quite optimistic for that. I thought it'd actually work out quite all right. I thought, honestly, with its design being fairly unique compared to all the other locker skins, I thought a nice $1.20 to $1.80 barter would work out quite all right. I was optimistic it was going to be a pretty interesting future. We'll talk more about that in a bit, don't you worry. Twisted Sheet Metal Double Door. $2.49. Not the top selling skin. Sold a reasonable 15,663 subscribers. Probably might go over 16,000 the next day. Cool. I went with $1.50 to $2. I was feeling pretty confident with that. I thought that was probably the best thing out of the whole batch of skins here, and I still felt that on this day. So cool. And then Cryo Small Box. I appreciated its design. I was fully well aware that like more continuations had been submitted, but it had been a while because like with the Cryo collection, we saw Garage Door, Sheet Metal Double Door. Like we saw some interesting skins being produced, but they weren't being accepted. Small Box was accepted, but I wasn't sure if we're actually going to see any more skins being accepted afterwards. So I thought about it. It stood out, looked cool, very nice and shiny. Well, I mean, glows nicely. It's nice futuristic design. Definitely caught my eye. Didn't sell too much with just over 10,000 subscribers right there. And I just thought $1 to $1.60 for a $2.49 skin. I thought that'd be pretty okay. And then we had the regular skins. So Coconut Bandana and the Grim Garden AK-47. Coconut Bandana, 60 cents to 80 cents. Thought it looked nice, but can only really go in with one thing, which is the wood armor, which you need to buy the DLC for, which I thought, well, maybe. Didn't sell too much. Thought it could still retain some value, so 60 cents to 70 cents. And with the AK, didn't fully trust it. Yeah, it only had 9,500 subscribers, but I thought, you know what, 60 cents to 80 cents. That's my usual approach when I don't really trust like weapon skins. So, cool. Understood. How did everything turn out? What was the outcome? So, let's go over to here and discuss. Cobalt Jungle Container Sheet Metal Door had a lot of interesting continuations being made, but not every single one of them was accepted. So, let's just quickly showcase that to you. So, as I said, all the leaves and the design, I honestly thought this would work out quite nicely, but I was still cautious. I did mention it. Now, this is kind of mixed up with a previous collection. Cubists never really differentiated them. I do differentiate them. But as you can see, we got armored double doors. Sheet metal doors. Like, yeah, it was nice. But we never got, like, the sheet metal double doors. We never got the garage door. We never got the single armored door. There was attempts. But, yeah, it didn't really work out. So, as you can see right now, on the Steam market, so let's just go over to here. It's, oh, don't know what I clicked here, sorry. I'm still new to this. I do apologise. So as you can see, it's just under $2 at the moment, which we can see right now. There we go. Let me also make sure we got the right extension on so we can see all the interesting details in terms of dollars. But yeah, 71 listings, £1.45 my currency, but in USD, that's $1.92. it's not like swamped. The barders are still there, keeping the price reasonably up. And my suggestion was $1.20 to $1.80. So honestly, it's pretty much bang on, like perfect in terms of the suggestion. However, right now it's August. It's not September. It's not October. We haven't seen this properly drop off just yet, I guess you could say. But what will that look like around post-Christmas time, January time? Maybe we'll see more attempts. Maybe we'll see more skins being accepted. Fingers crossed. But we'll see how it plays out. As I said, we're not seeing tons of listings. It's looking reasonably solid at the moment. So we'll see how this turns out from here and now. Did you actually buy any? I've got a whole bunch of barders. I'm not upset with that. But I really would like it to turn around and go up in price a bit more. But evidently we've got to go through the worst of the times, haven't we? The autumn-fall seasonal dip. So, okay. Feel free to comment below if you've invested and tell me what you think in regards to are you feeling comfortable? So yeah, we'll leave it at that. Let's now go back over to here. So I'm going to go click this, go over to here, and talk about the Heatseeker Python. So Heatseeker skins, they initially towards the end of June, they didn't really work out very nicely. They're all going down in price quite a fair bit. It's a bit awkward. But I can sit here and say the Python has always had the lowest quantity out of all the skins. So you can see here, a couple hundred, almost 400, 200, 108. Heatseeker Python has always had the least. So yeah, it might have got more subscribers compared to the AK, but I'm definitely noticing a lot less availability of it. So yeah, $4. It doesn't really have that much, I guess you could say. And then again, what we see here, the details isn't matching up perfectly. Steam Market's been a bit odd recently, but it's been reliable. It's been okay. The barders have slowly risen up. It's doing pretty good. Will it drop off around October time? By default, I'd say I would expect it, but I don't think that's going down anytime soon. Give it a couple, give it a couple months, of course. But no. It looks like it'll be a type of skin that'll rebound, so as long as Heatseeker Collection remains in demand, this whole set, as you see here, is expected to do very nicely. Now, is it the end of Heatseeker at the moment? As far as I'm aware, I don't think so. But of course, you'll notice we did get a couple more skins accepted after the Python. Skin creator, Mr. Vase, is involved with quite a lot of collections. Recently, we just saw the return of his porcelain collection with the boots being accepted. He kind of wants to focus that for a bit. There is still, I'm just pointing this out, but there's still a Heatseeker skin on the workshop, the SAP, and the M249. If we have complete the sets late this year, maybe we could see one of those being accepted. I'm just saying, it was pretty popular this year, Face Punch. Maybe we'll see some of that being accepted. We'll see. But anyway, point made. The more the merrier has worked out quite all right for this. We have 7 weapon skins in total. They're in demand. People appreciate them, but it's mainly due to the fact that they have pay-to-win aim sights. So, yeah. But there wasn't a tip for hoodie or pants. That didn't happen. I have asked. I have said, do you reckon you could do a sheet metal double door? But skin creators maybe in the future. All right, whatever. It's his choice. So, cool. Did you buy any of the Pythons? Have you bought any with a builder? I've bought 2. 2 with a builder. But October time, will it drop off? And will I be picking up some nice cheap gains? We'll see. And again, then I'll wait it out until January time and try and sell them for a nice bit of profit. Oh, yes. So, do you expect more of this collection? Would you like to see more? Feel free to comment below, offer your opinions. But let's now move on from here because we have an interesting talking point right about now. Island Assault Tier 3. I wonder what happened next. Yeah. I wonder what happened next with this collection, huh? Well, it turns out it did actually get those collection continuations. But here's the funny thing. Before we even saw any collection continuations, I was keeping an eye on Twitter, I was keeping an eye on the Rust subreddit, and there was a lot of commotion about this set. A lot of people actually did want it. Now, whether it was people trying to manipulate it and trying to get more people to buy it and, actually try and make a profit out of what they bought, I don't know. But I will ask you, did any of you actually buy any of the Tier 3 armor? Straight purchase? You can even sit there and say if you bought some with barders. But anyway, before we even saw the pair of gloves being accepted, that actually started to rise up in price ever so nice. Both the face mask and the chest plate. So, of course, after a while, we did eventually see the gloves being accepted, then the boots, then the hoodie and pants recently, And of course, in the current Rust store, we now have the tier 2. And it turns out tier 3 sold the least out of all the core pieces. So if I was to just quickly explain this, if we could just go back over to here to the recent Rust stores. Last week, I'm talking at the end of, second last Rust store, July 2025, we saw the hoodie and pets finally being accepted. A version 2 is made in Facepunch to accept the first version, so anyway. That did 28,000 subscribers. That did 27,000 subscribers. And you're going to sit there and say, what's all the commotion about this then? Tier 3 only did about 19,800 subscribers. In short, there was almost 10,000 more subscribers of hoodie and pants. Now you might sit there and say, oh, what does that mean? Well, in theory, if everybody wants to get a complete collection, there's only so many tier 3 pieces to go around. Oh, first piece to be accepted, and it sold the least. Now, let's go back over to here to the main. Yep, the first Rust store, the Rust store we currently have right now. Tier 2 is sitting here with over 30,000 subscribers. So as long as this collection remains in demand, the nice, interesting matte grey design, I think it's working out very nicely. Like, we got to do abnormal barders later tonight. That right there, that kilt still very likely is going to retain its value, simply due to the fact that a lot of people are now realizing it looks nice, but you can also hide in monuments pretty easily. Just hide in the shadows, you blend in very nicely in the dark, grey areas and whatnot. Oh, it's perfect. I've made quite a fuss about that. A lot of people are aware of it. This has sold quite a lot. But tier 3, simply due to the fact that you were first and you only sold so much, look at the percentage gain. Ooh. So let's just go give this a good look in the Steam market right now. As you can see with the face mask, it's currently sitting on the Steam market at just about $21.50. I do believe it was a little bit higher, a few days ago, because of course we have both the hoodie and pants, whoop, and the tier 2, whoop. It caused it to rise up ever so nice. Is it going to drop off? That is to be expected. I've seen in, a couple instances now, what with boots and gloves, hoodie pants, and the tier 2, it'll jump up and then it'll go back down. Now, is it going to go down dramatically? I don't think so. But it is expected it might probably go down to maybe about $15 at its worst. That's my expectation. And that might not happen until October. So, okay, let's go over to here, take a look at the chest plate as well. So let's just go do this, look at the marketplace, and there we go. This has always been more expensive compared to the face mask. Not actually sure why. You could comment below your thoughts in regards to that. Maybe it's because it sold at a higher price and didn't sell as much. But it's like only a few difference in regards to subscriber counts. But anyway, 67 listings, 79 listings, and look at the sales history over here. The exact same thing. But yeah, this has been pushing up to $30. And I don't think it's stopping here, to be honest with you. As time goes on, we're still expecting more, like a backpack and a jacket to be made. We're in a very good spot. What else is there to say? So if you bought any of these, I've got to hand it to you. Congratulations. Initially, when we first saw them, we were upset because it wasn't tire tier 3. We still do not have tire tier 3. But if you looked at that, liked it, bought it, and made it a lovely big fat profit, props to you, okay? Now, we'll sit here and say I've put down more barders on this as I saw this work out very, very nicely. But yeah, that is a very great, that's a wonderful success of 2025. So props to the skin creator, props to you if you invested in it, and yeah, that's a great success. So there's not much else I can say. Congratulations. And now, in the opposite, well, I'm kind of lost for words, but yeah. Bamboo cage locker. It just gets worse. What do you mean? You were so optimistic, Hedge. You said it looked very nice with its transparency. You made some videos showcasing hiding behind it and showcasing how well it can be utilized. Didn't matter. Looks like it sold just a little bit too much. And we also saw the bone locker, which was the exact same thing basically, but made out of bones, not bamboo. So when that happened, things just got worse. And apparently it's 67 cents. I'm not sure about that. Let's just confirm. It's $1.29. Yeah, that website seems to have made a little bit of a mistake. But yeah, it's still half its price. That did not work out. I sat there and said $1.20. Let's see here. $1.20 to $1.80. Yep. I was optimistic. I thought maybe it'd work out quite nicely, but can it hurry up? But yes, we also did get the bone locker, so let me just quickly show that to you. Again, very similar designs. Problem for us, the investors. But this actually sold quite a fair bit less. And look at it, only 34 listings compared to 133 listings, but they're like the same price. Evidently, people did not really care enough in regards to transparent lockers. Nuts. Oh no. So I thought that was very unique, very special, very interesting, could be utilised in a very fun way, but no. Evidently, people did not care that in that regard. So that's a big disappointment, and that's Hedge making a big mistake. I did pick up quite a lot of them through barters. I don't recall if I actually made a purchase. So let me just quickly go remind myself. So as I go over to here, look at my little bit of my notes. And Rust 2025 purchases. Did I buy any lockers? I do not think No, I did not. Okay, cool. So, fair enough. But I still picked up a bunch of barters. So I still bought them for the, cheaper than the Rustore price. But I'm still looking at this thinking, oh no. So fingers crossed. January 2026, that goes up in price. So I can sell it for a profit. But sometimes things are like this. You have a hunch, and it doesn't work out very nicely. So if you bought that, if you invested into it, if you got it with buy orders, I do apologise. It's not the end of the world. It's half the price at the moment. But yeah, we're going to wait till January now to see if it works out. Maybe it takes just one TikTok video for everybody to suddenly want to use it and appreciate it. We'll see, Will Jim, can you please utilise it? Thank you. But yeah, that's that. So, didn't work out. Now, in contrast, Twisted Metal Sheet Metal Double Door. I had a hunch, and it did work out very nicely. Sheet Metal Double Doors, you have proven to be very nice and reliable. So let's go take a look at this in the Steam market. As you can see, it's sitting there at $3.11. Not a massive, huge gain, but that looks like it's a straggler, because then immediately it's $3.50. And if I could just look at sales history, yeah, it did look like it's a higher point back in, about a couple of weeks back. But yeah, no, this has proven to be pretty good. It was at $4 at one point, based on what I'm seeing here. And yeah, 19 sales today. Yeah, sheet metal doors, reliable. So yes, we did see some more being accepted. That is true. That definitely did happen. But hey, doesn't matter. Back in 2024, we saw a whole bunch of them being accepted. And they all turned out very nicely once we looked at the skins back in June time. So, hey, cool. Would you probably be able to pick that up for a cheaper price around October? Wouldn't surprise me. I did notice a lot of the sheet metal double doors late last year kind of struggling around October time. That did happen. But then January and this summer, oh, they have flourished. So I'm hoping, as we delve further into the future, maybe next summer they'll probably be selling for about $5. We'll see. But just to remind all of you, if you don't fully remember, this is what it looks like. Their happy, smiley face. So maybe for Halloween, maybe it gets appreciated a little bit more. Did you want to come and get your kids, your candy children? Oh, okay, I've screwed that up. But did you want to get your candy kids? Oh, whatever. You had a joke and you fumbled it. Well, at least I didn't fumble with the the nice investment. I picked up a few of those with buy orders. Did you actually purchase any? Feel free to comment below. Props to you if you did. Because again, that's a nice bit of profit. But it did peak already, and it looks like it's starting to slip down now. So if you're going to get some profit whilst you can, make a move, because we are getting closer to October. Coconut Bandana, I didn't have that much to say. As I said, the only notable thing is that it pairs up very nicely with the wood armor, the special coconut armor. But yeah, that costs what, like $15? And yeah, I don't think everybody bought that. It can only really blend in with that. But it's still not doing terribly. As you can see, it's only down a fair bit, but let's just double check just to be sure. And I can confirm to you, it's sitting there at about, what, 70-ish cents? 77. Okay. Not that many listings. Could probably have a nice turnaround. And it did see a collection continuation. So if I could just quickly showcase this to you right now, we did see the backpack. Now, was the backpack before or after? Let me just quickly confirm. I think the backpack was actually before. Whoopsie. Well then, oh dear. But point still remains, it still went down in price. And I did say, you know what, I'll probably just do like a 60 cent to 70 cent buy order. Turns out that was correct. Cool. All right. Lovely. But yeah, it's not exactly like, hey, if I bought it for 70 cents, am I going to make a profit? Not really, no. So, yeah. I bought a few, but I removed the barter because I was just like, yeah, I don't think I'll actually be able to flip this for a proper profit, so what's the point? Okay, fair enough. Cryo small box. I sat there and said $1.20 to $1.80 for this $2.49 skin, and evidently it did go down a price. So we did see a collection continuation. I do believe we got the furnace after this, and as you can see, it's slightly down below its rust price, but it's not doomed. Only 33 listings. The Bardas is still here, keeping the price up. And hey, if this isn't at its worst, maybe you might be able to pick up some, some cheaper Bardas between $1.20 to $1.80 as we go through September, October, November. Looks like we don't actually have any $1.80 Bardas, but I have picked up a few. In fact, I think I did a $1.50 Barda. I think I'm right there. And by a few, I bought like 12. But hey, I've bought it for a cheaper price. I could sell it right now for a profit. But I think I'd just rather wait it out around January time and try and get a bit better profit. Skin Trader is still trying to get more skins accepted, so let's just go over to here, the Cryo Collection. But I'm not wrong. In regards to like the attempts that we saw before the small box, we had seen the door skins, we had seen the sheet metal double door. I swear we had a garage door, there we go, but they weren't being accepted. But we did see the furnace eventually, so okay, that's cool. But will we see any more? Any more attempts, Mr. Fuff? You got to tell me, because I want to know. But yeah, slightly down in price, but my Barda suggestion seems to be pretty okay there. So, alright, cool. Grim Garden AK-47. I don't want to sound mean. It looked pretty cool for what it was, but I just didn't think people were going to go super crazy for this, and evidently that seemed to be the case. Did just over 10,000 subscribers, which was pretty cool, but in terms of the price right now, evidently it got lost in the shuffle, and as you might notice, it's actually been bought out. Huh. Alright then, what's going on here? I've noticed some random AKs getting bought out recently. If I could just show liquidity, there you go. 18 sold, and then it goes down. So, okay then, looks like some people noticed that there wasn't that many in circulation and started making moves. Some manipulations, perhaps. Keep an eye out, and we'll see what happens to that in the future. But right now, as you might notice, yes, it's sitting there at $1.87. Still technically below its rust price, but this has risen up due to the fact that someone's bought out the stock. If you could just quickly look over to here. So I'm not sure how quick this updates in regards to its prices, but it was sitting there at 84 cents earlier. All right, so wasn't exactly perfect, but people are always looking for potential manipulations, and we'll keep an eye out for Grim Garden now because that might be having a bit of a fun time. We'll see. So yeah, overall, I was optimistic, and I was surprised. But were you surprised? Did you have faith in the likes of the Island Assault Tier 3? Did you accidentally have faith in Bamboo Cage Locker? But yeah, I was a bit off with my optimism. Shut up, you. And, well, I learned my mistake pretty quickly after seeing what happened with this. And of course, in the future, there will be more to discuss. But with next week's video, as you'll see, we saw another Heatseeker skin being accepted. Oh, that's going to be a fun discussion. We were so hopeful for Tire Tier 3, and then instead we turned into Eggplant. Okay. Thank you, Face Punch. Oh, and then a cock pump shotgun. Pumping my cock. Yeah, we're going to have a fun talk next week, but yes, congratulations if you made a lot of profit. And yeah, that's it. That's a wrap. So best of luck to you in your investments. Consider making some sales now. But as we get closer to October time, prepare for the inevitable drop in price. But if you've got funds to work with, great time to buy in for some super cheap prices. You've been informed, now you better be prepared. So with that, catch you later, say goodbye.